Several preachers and men of God have lost the way. They've been associated with the prosperity gospel, falling prey in the hands of worldly riches and materialism. Thus, they twist the scriptures to fit into their skewed interpretations of false teachings. They often use biblical passages to support their teachings, highlighting verses that mention blessings and abundance. This selective use of scripture creates a warped emphasis on material prosperity and pressures congregants to give financially in expectation of personal gain.
Why is it that God allows these false teachers to prosper, these false churches to grow?
In this video, I will explore how these pastors have fallen into the trap of false doctrines and how they have affected Christ's body. Join me and let's begin. Joyce Meyer, Joel Osteen, Kenneth Copeland, Hinn, Jesse Duplantis, and Steven Furtick are well-known preachers in America, and they have been the subject of criticism and controversy related to their teaching. This has made their messages and teachings questionable and brought them under false teaching. Several instances abound where these preachers use selective and out-of-context interpretations of biblical passages to encourage members to donate substantially. By focusing on verses related to giving, blessings, and prosperity, these preachers create a narrative that links financial contributions to spiritual rewards, potentially pressuring congregants to give beyond their means. Because of false teachings and excessive prosperity gospel, concerns have been raised about using manipulative techniques to solicit donations, including emotional appeals, promises of blessings, and suggestions that financial giving will lead to divine favor. By leveraging these tactics, these preachers create an environment where congregants feel compelled or pressured to make substantial donations, even when they may not be financially able to do so. We can see today that there's so much that's going wrong in the area of stewardship and accountability. From a biblical perspective, stewardship emphasizes responsible management of resources and giving with a generous heart. The emphasis on stewardship has been overshadowed by the pressure to give in specific contexts, leading to questions about transparency, financial accountability, and the equitable distribution of funds within these ministries.
People are not saved by hearing that which pleases them, unless that which pleases them is the gospel.
It's essential to recognize that financial giving and stewardship perspectives vary widely within the Christian faith. While some individuals may find value in the teachings of these preachers, others may have differing views about the potential impact of their messages on congregants and the broader Christian community. These teachings can exploit vulnerable individuals and lead them to focus on material wealth rather than spiritual growth. Steven Furtick, lead pastor of Elevation Church and a Grammy Award-winning songwriter, producer, and New York Times best-selling author, has faced scrutiny over his leadership style and church practices. As the founder and lead pastor, he has played a significant role in growing the multi-site Elevation Church into a global ministry through online streaming, television, and the music of Elevation worship. And his church, Elevation Church, has expanded to multiple locations and has a significant online presence.
That God is not limited by physical dimensions. And I know you know that, but he never really leaves.
Although Steven Furtick's dynamic preaching style and innovative approach to ministry have resonated with many people worldwide, a lot still lies beneath the surface. Steven Furtick is known for his lavish lifestyle and celebrity status. Thus, it raises the question, isn't the house of God supposed to be transparent and truthful in all its doings? This approach can detract from the valid message of Christianity and can be manipulative. His extravagant lifestyle does not follow the teachings of Paul in Philippians 2 verses 3-4, which says Christians ought to encourage humility and consider others above ourselves. Pastors should not be greedy with material things but should serve willingly. Vadi Baucham has critiqued Steven Furtick's teachings, particularly his emphasis on the prosperity gospel and the potential distortion of biblical principles for material gain. Not just Vadi, but John MacArthur also has been critical of false faith healing practices and teachings, raising concerns about doctrinal disagreements and the potential exploitation of vulnerable individuals. In like manner, the American evangelist and founder of Jesse Duplantis Ministries, now known as Revival Harvest Ministries, is another prosperity gospel preacher. Jesse Duplantis is regarded as another financial titan in the field of prosperity preaching, and he easily ranks among the world's wealthiest men of faith. With a net fortune of $50 million, he can easily feed his whole congregation. But would he ever do that? His focus on material blessings in his ministry and excessive prosperity gospel draws attention, and he has faced controversy due to his alleged tax fraud and fundraising for a $54 million jet project. Yes, Duplantis faced backlash for seeking donations for a $54 million private jet, not considering the message in 1 Timothy 6 verses 9 to 10, which warns against the love of money leading to destruction. John MacArthur has expressed concerns about the prosperity gospel message promoted by Duplantis, highlighting doctrinal disagreements and the potential negative impact on believers. These types of teachings don't reflect the true gospel of Jesus. Kenneth Hagin's health and wealth theology has been criticized for promoting a distorted view of faith. His teachings promote a distorted view of faith and prosperity. His teachings emphasized Mark 11, verses 23 to 24, as a critical verse for faith-filled living. Still, he has an overturned word of faith teachings and prosperity gospel focus, and he seems to have neglected the message in 1 Timothy 6 verses 5 to 6, which warns against false teachers who think godliness is a means to financial gain. We should never ask God for blessings with selfish motives.
The Lord told me there's someone that you are connected to. Tanya, how's your mother's health?
My mom, she passed away in 2009.
See what happened there when she discovered her cover had been blown and her prophecy has been truly discovered for what it was: blatant falsehood. She tried to fill in the lapses with more lies to cover her embarrassment. Today, false teachings are slowly taking over the church, a dangerous trend. Many folks in the church think that because we live in the time of Christ and the new covenant, God has loosened up on his holy and righteous standards. This is not possible, though, because his standards come from his being holy and righteous. At this point, any Christian who values his or her salvation would have been fed up enough to get up and leave that church, because not doing so could further corrupt the basis of their faith. You must understand that even under the new dispensation, we are still subject to the law, but just a different law, the law of Christ, not the law of the old covenant. It is the law that brings understanding of sin and the law that brings death. God's way does not change what it is, just how it looks. Everything that God said was wrong back then is still wrong now. For example, homosexuality was wrong back then, and it is still wrong now. And no one is born gay. Both the Bible and science prove this. It was wrong to kill children for no reason back then, and it still is today. What we witness today is that the land is dirty with the blood of the innocent. Many horrible things happen in churches these days, all in the name of modernity, liberalism, and an openness to a new brand of Christianity not found in the Bible. And these things happen a lot in churches in Europe and the United States. They have tainted worldliness with true Christian values. Joyce Meyer is another prominent televangelist who has faced scrutiny over her lavish lifestyle and use of church funds. Her net worth has been estimated to be between $8 and $10 million as of 2021, with the majority of her fortune claimed to be derived from her self-published books. She is well known for visiting several international conferences on her $10 million private Gulfstream 4 private aircraft, which she shares with other celebrity pastors. Meyer's extravagant lifestyle, which includes a multi-million-dollar house, has called to question the purpose of her calling. Is it to save souls or to wreak in affluence? Many have said her teachings on prosperity and generosity exploit weak church members, utilizing tithes and offerings to amass a fortune that can last a whole generation. This emphasis on prosperity has led to a distorted view of faith and exploited vulnerable church members. She also faced backlash recently after smearing her saliva on her brother's face during a sermon. But Meyer needs to consider Jesus' words in Matthew 6 verses 19 to 21, emphasizing that we store treasures in heaven rather than on earth. Vadi Baucham has been critical of these teachings, mainly focusing on positive thinking and self-improvement rather than the foundational truths of the Christian faith. Also, John MacArthur has publicly critiqued the prosperity gospel message, highlighting doctrinal disagreements and the potential distortion of biblical principles.
Peter chapter 2, verse 1 says, "False prophets also arose among the people, just as there will also be false teachers among you."
Todd Bentley, another preacher, gained fame during the Lakeland revival, but later faced allegations of moral misconduct. In January 2020, a panel of 6 charismatic leaders concluded that Bentley was disqualified for leadership or ministry based on credible accusations of ungodly and immoral behavior. His controversial practices during revival meetings led to widespread debate among Christians. Bentley was disqualified due to allegations of immoral conduct, including adultery and substance abuse. Is it not mandatory for those who claim to profess the word of truth to depart from debauchery and wantonness, to embrace the very light of the gospel they profess? That's how much I can take on today's video. Reach out to the comments section and let me know your thoughts on this. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.